So, thank you all for joining us today. We are on episode 2, volume 2 for the DC Gaming Group Direct. I'm here with Ren, aka Camelback of Liquor, and also Justin, the Real Pipe Gamer. Um,
Hello.
this week we have a bunch of cool stuff to talk about, but mainly I want to use this opportunity to get to know Ren, and your background with video games, and then also uh, what you do here at DC Gaming Group. Without further ado, Ren, what is your background with video games?
My background with video games is like a lot of people in DCGG. I've been playing them since I figured out how to use my thumbs. Um, I probably would not describe myself as as much of an active gamer as a lot of people in DCG. I didn't have a lot of consoles growing up. My first console was a Nintendo 64 that I found at a garage sale and bought for like $12, but that was all I needed because my friend had Ocarina of Time, and I always wanted to play that for myself because the epicness of that game really called to me. So I got my $12 N64. I think I also was able to pick up Ocarina of Time for like another like $10 or so. So I was just set. That was like every day after school for months was just playing that game. Later on, I would eventually get Majora's Mask, but of course, I had to get the memory expander for the N64, that little red bastard, and then played that for months. So my background with video games really, I think, can be traced back to like just a deep love of Zelda and puzzle games in general. So a lot of DCGG gamers are definitely into shooters and fighters, but I like to think that I represent sort of the puzzler side of the community, and the slow game sort of gamers.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so shortly after the N64, what are some other like notable consoles that you've had growing up, and also what are some other even outside? I know we briefly talked about you were a huge Flash game uh, connoisseur. So yeah, talk about that next step, like your teenage years and like, getting into to other platforms and other ways to game.
Yeah, so PC gaming and online gaming was definitely big for me because it's cheap. It was online. One of the cool things that my high school had, which I didn't properly appreciate till I was older, is that the computer science club or class would build games that you were able to get to from the Marcus High School website. And that site had hands down the best Snake game I have ever played. Um, and why I played it so much is on school systems they got really good at shutting down any website that had the name game in it.
Mm.
But you could play these ones. So those online JavaScript and Flash games definitely became a big thing. And then I didn't have like a lot of consoles growing up in like high school. The next console I got after that N64 was when I went to college. My buddy actually bought me a 3DS Zelda edition. You're sensing a theme here. Yep, that is correct. I did play like a lot of Zelda on that one as well. And that one is actually when I actually finally collected all 100 Skulltulas in Ocarina of Time. But that game was also really cool because the 3DS had I like to think it was probably the first real augmented reality sort of system built into it where you could like take a picture of your face and then like fight your face, and that was like a lot of fun. And just like a lot of like really fun silly games like that I played on the 3DS because I was also in college and I wasn't into a lot of big thinking stuff. The other games that I like to play online were a lot of point and click adventures, puzzles. So think back to like Myst, and sort of the games that descended from that one, right? So one that I really liked was No Sleep, which we can probably still find and I can post somewhere. That one is really cool. And that game especially got me start thinking like, hey, I can make games. If some guy on the internet just made this, I can make games too. So that was definitely an influential game for me. Also, a lot of fun games like oh my god, what is it? Is it Candy Shop? Yeah, the original Candy Shop was a lot of fun because you start off thinking the game is like X, and then slowly over time it's like this is not at all what I was expecting. And so those moments of like genuine like awe and I was not expecting this are like a lot of fun. I used to run a channel in early DCGG called Uncanny Games, which is just a collection of stuff like this. So if anyone is looking for games that are like really a little bit like off the wall and different, that's totally my vibe. And I think the internet was definitely or like mid 2000 noughties was a really good time on the internet for games like those because they could do well. They don't tend to do as well like releasing on console because it's just like a different marketplace, right? These are types of games that you need to be sent by a friend and be like, no questions, just play to get into them.
Yeah, so if you get a DM from Ren with that headline, just play it. Trust me, trust
You
me.
don't ask questions, just
Yeah,
click the link.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
But I will say this year I actually got two consoles. I got a Switch. Actually, no, was that no? That was 2019. The years blur together. I got in 19. I got a Switch, which I hugely love. And then also in 2020, I finally broke down and got something I've been wanting for years and years and years, and that is a VR headset. I got an Oculus 2
Oh, awesome.
in November, which was strange to me because I'm not an early adopter by any means, and I love it. Um, Everything I loved about the point and click adventures puzzle games, I can now do in first person, which is just huge. And there's definitely a lot of puzzle games that are taking full advantage of you being in first person VR to think about puzzles, and I really am into that.
What are some of your top picks for if somebody was to get an Oculus 2 right now? What's like your top five or top 10 picks that you would recommend?
So to start off, I don't think a Quest is right for everybody. So definitely, if you are the type of person who's built your own computer, a Quest may not be a good fit for you. You might want like something like a Rift. Um, and if you've never tried VR before, I would definitely suggest trying a VR headset out before committing to an Oculus, just because it's an expensive toy.
Yeah.
And a lot of these games are shorter and more expensive than what you would expect on like the Switch or Steam marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
But those caveats aside, I think a really good game is I Expect You to Die. It's a James Bond esque escape room um, that you're in first person and everything you're doing is essentially either in arm's length to complete the puzzle to escape the room and to get around the problem of mobility in this game. They just gave you telekinesis, which is, hilarious, but it works out really well. Why this game, I'm going to say first, is it's really good to play like individually. You can solidly entertain yourself. But the other thing about it is that because this Oculus is designed with sociability in mind, it's super easy to stream. So we've had a couple of parties where we've sat someone down in a stool, put the Oculus on their head, and then everyone in the room is solving these escape rooms together. So
Yeah,
that has been a really fun experience.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Um,
I had a lot of. I've only had one VR experience, or two really, but one was whatever the PSVR. I forget exactly what the game is. Then the game is really like a showcase where you're in a place and you have all the guns and knives and you're doing things. But like a really good party environment was Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
that one's
Mm-hmm.
good.
That is such a great party experience and something that you could. I mean, I know there's a version on the Switch, which also kind of works out well because they're the only person who can see the screen and like manipulate it. But like that VR experience of like the person is sitting there and they're freaking out. They're just like, the title of the game this, and like people are arguing over what we should do, and you can just see this person is like, someone give me something, like someone tell me something, and you're like, the blue wire, and we're all dead. Okay, cool guys.
Yeah, definitely. If you end up with a VR headset, keep talking, no one explodes. I totally echo everything Pipe just said. It is fantastic to play. Some ones that like I'll also highlight that may not get as much attention, and I probably won't go through all 10 because honestly I haven't played 10 games on the VR headset. Is Shadow Point. Shadow Point is a first-person puzzler. It has a lot of like Monument Valley types of vibes, where the actual mechanics of the game is creating shadows, and each level or section of the game will introduce a new mechanic that will either keep you from creating the correct shadows or make it different in some kind of way. But there's this overall sort of plot going on which really ties the puzzles together, and so it just feels good to play. A lot of people would call it a cheap VR because there's not that many interactable items. It's really you're walking around and have only like 2 or 3 items you can touch at a time. But for the type of gameplay it is, I think it works out really, really well, and I had like a good time with it. But that is a first-person kind of puzzler. I have recently completed a game called Down the Rabbit Hole, which is a third-person, not really a platform, but third-person RPG in VR. And I know what you're wondering. Well, how does that work? So you have a teeny tiny person, and she appears like at your eye level, and you can move her around in this isometric space. And then you go into rooms, and you're following her, picking up items, solving a couple of puzzles. But what's really cool is that this little character who's reminiscent of Alice in Wonderland, going through a Alice in Wonderland type world, as she keeps going through rooms, at one point I happened to look up and I realized I was down a hole, that as these rooms were created by this little person, I was spiraling deeper and deeper down. And so that was another really, really cool way to like use VR to put me into a space that, conventional games just couldn't.
Hmm. See, now you're talking about like looking up and seeing that you were down the hole makes me like want to ask the question of, uh, I feel like one of the things that comes up often people talk about VR is, like motion sickness, like being in the headset for a while, they don't feel too well, they might get headaches, they might get sweats, things like that. You literally just explaining, looked up and saw you were down the hole. My head started to get a little dizzy. What do you have any tips about that? Is that something that you suffer from, or like you suffered from when you first started?
Yeah, so, and this is probably something I should mention back with like my history with video games. I have severe motion sickness. There are a lot of games that I just cannot play. So any game that you have to look and move with separate controls is going to make me sick. That's why I think I connected so strongly with Zelda, is because the ZL targeting system for combat was a combat system that I could play with. Games like Halo, I got Halo, and I was so excited because all my buddies are playing Halo, and I just couldn't. Like I'm like on the floor. So yeah, if you do have motion sickness, I would say definitely try out like a friend's VR headset before committing to getting one, because it's going to hit you differently. The games that I pick in the VR store have this icon on them called Comfort. Comfort tends to mean that you can move by teleporting, and that makes a really big difference. I do not do well with games where you have to like tilt your head to walk and move, because it's just wacky. There is also something, and I know it's happening, but I can't describe the actual math frame rate thing that happens here. But there is definitely a difference in games where movement will give me motion sickness versus it won't. It's something with the frame rate, something with the relative speed, I think. Well, one feels good and the other doesn't. And some games have that and some games don't. So that's kind of, definitely something to keep in mind. Look for comfort, but know that even if you have comfort, sometimes even teleportation like doesn't feel good. like the Star Wars Vader Immortal series. I really enjoy those, but it's a good thing the chapters are so short because teleporting in that game just makes me woozy.
Yeah, I know. For me, I definitely I wanna try out Half Life Alex. Like I've been I'm one of these like shadow like Half Life fans that I've
Mhm.
just like come to accept that we're never going to be satisfied. So like so like the fact that they came out with a VR game, I instantly was thinking about getting a headset. So I think I might splurge and get that. And then on top of that, I have a PSVR, but I was telling Justin like my cousin has my headset, so I gotta go over and get it. And they just released Doom 3 on PSVR, so I'm definitely looking forward to it because I was already planning on playing Doom 3 again, and now that it's on PlayStation VR, it's kind of giving me an excuse to get back into VR. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that space. It's been a while. I'd say the last game I played in VR was Resident Evil 7, and that was fucking terrifying. Like I could only do like 30 minutes of that, and I was just like, yeah, nah,
It,
and literally like the first 2 hours of Resident Evil 7 is like the most terrifying. So it was just yeah. Mm-mm.
no, I get you. There's a Five Nights at Freddy in VR adaptation where I'm pretty sure they remade it for VR. It's like it's stupid, but also like when you're in first person, it's terrifying.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just having I think one of the Baker, the matriarch. I mean the patriarch. I forget his name. In the Baker family, when he's chasing, he pulls you and he busts out the window. And I was like, nah, I can't do this. Can't do it.
I'm not sleeping tonight if I
I,
keep doing this.
I'm done. I'm done. Like I usually like that stuff, but this was just a little too personal. So, but yeah, I'm gonna take that plunge pretty soon. Um, cool. So, Ren, tell me about kind of like your background with DC Gamer Group and what DC Gamer Group means to you.
Yeah. So like I worked with you and a couple other, founders previously. And I think that generally within our professional group, we have this idea that gaming is about people, it's about community. Um, and we wanted to build a space where that continued to be true for not just our professional group, but the greater DCGG or sorry, DMV area. The way I like to think about it inside my head is there is this article that I did not read, but I was told about, where like bars are too loud, coffee shops are too quiet. So it's hard for people in our generation to really like find people and connect with people and, form, you know, everyone goes immediately to romantic relationships, but across the board, romantic, professional, social, it, it's hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we got to this place where bars are too loud and coffee shops are too quiet, but DCGG, I feel like, is part of the solution for that, at least for the DMV area, where we are a space where you can come and game and be with people to find those friendships and connections and build a community for yourself. What I do at DCGG is I'm probably most known for hosting trivia. I love trivia. I loved doing bar trivia before the pandemic. And when the pandemic hit, we transitioned to doing bunker trivia. It's now just called community trivia. But so every month I host a few rounds of trivia. I usually pick the topics by feeling like, and the questions I usually derive from free association on those topics. I have a lot of fun doing it. But then also behind the scenes, I do a lot of stuff that I would like to describe as like the not fun stuff. So a lot of the admin work that goes into making sure the community's needs are taken care of, planning around, what a lot of places in DC are opening back up. How are we going to start hosting in-person events? A lot of the admin work that goes into that is stuff that I take care of. And so it's pretty much, I do the not fun stuff. So most of our hosts and administrators can focus on the fun stuff. And what
Thank
else?
you.
Yeah, thank you. For sure. Thank you.
A lot of people have it's actually very, I found a place where it's very soothing to do admin work, because a lot of times it's just stuff that needs to be written, things that just need to be posted, just an email, and then it's done, like a checkbox.
Yeah, that is actually a good point about like admin stuff. It's like a actual, you can measure your product, like you can measure things with that. It's like, all right,
Mhm.
I submitted that, I did this, sent this email, did this and this that. I'm done. And now I can
Yeah,
go play
yeah.
video games.
And then a lot of I know you and me come from tech, and in tech nothing is ever done. Everything's
Exactly.
just a band-aid.
Yes, exactly. That is a perfect way. Like every project is never complete, and so you never have like that sense of closure. And I think that's why we're so. I think we have like perpetual anxiety, centered around that, and it is not. It's not fun. Which I honestly like when I look at games like Fortnite and like all of these like live service games, like I feel bad for the developers, because there isn't like a sense of like we shipped the game, like now we're on to the next. It's like, no, we shipped the game, now the real work starts. Like we got to keep people
Mhm.
invested for like months and hopefully years down the road. So I have a soft spot for those developers, even though they're swimming in cash. Well, some of them.
Yeah, no, the business model of those guys is really interesting too. Like how, because Sea of Thieves has a completely different model than Fortnite, and they're all just trying to do the same thing as can we keep this user for just 4 months?
Exactly. Cool.
um, yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. So, speaking of trivia, you want to talk about the next trivia event that is coming up?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. So as regular trivia contestants will know, I have not been the host for the past few months. I was doing a full-time program, but my classes have ended, and I am back.
Oh,
And I'm back.
it's,
Huh?
we're gonna have to do a video at some point about your experience as a
Yeah.
in the boot camp, and that because I know that there's a few people in our community that are thinking about getting into tech in some way. So I think we should definitely schedule like a time where we can talk about your experience in a boot camp and
Oh,
things of that sort.
absolutely, absolutely. Which is also a trivia topic. So one of the rounds this month is going to be tech. So this is, remember, I just pick a topic and usually free associate on it. So this could be everything and anything to have to do with tech. The other hint that I'll give any listeners is that I do hide hints to questions and answers inside of the trivia banner. So if you have not gone to Meetup to register for the event, definitely do so, because you will see the banner and therefore get some hints. The second major topic for this month is conspiracy theories. This is a round that I wrote months and months ago, and I've been sitting on because I didn't. My sister was subbing in as the host while I was gone, and I was just so excited for this round. I didn't want her to do it. I wanted to do it. But I have a little teaser question for you guys if you're up for it.
Let's
Let's
do it.
do it.
Okay, are you ready? This airport has been the center of controversy since it was built in 1995, with theorists claiming it is the center of doomsday plans with underground bunkers, symbols of secret societies, and murals depicting harbingers of doom hidden in public artwork. Which
Colorado.
airport? Yes, it's Colorado.
Wow,
I've heard that
that was
too.
impressive. Where do you know that? Like, how do you know this?
Various podcasts over the years that have been talking about that. Just yeah, just various podcasts and conspiracy theorists stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is a nutty one. So what's the version as the best conspiracy theories, in my personal opinion, have like different origin stories, right? So what's the version of the Colorado airport that you know, Creston?
um. Well, I think the one thing that stuck out to me was that when somebody pointed out like how far the airport was relative to the nearest like city, it was like it's like 45 minutes. It's like relative to like anything around it, and so that was like they were saying, oh, that's very weird, and then they were saying like the weird artwork around it. It was like symbolizing things, and then like the bunker I think the bunker one really kind of stuck with me because that one was like, huh, why is it an
Yeah.
hour away from everything? Because Colorado is like a huge like military state, so
hmm
um
hmm
yeah, I think that's the one that really like stuck out to me.
Yeah, that's pretty much like the you point out the big parts of this conspiracy theory. But yeah, if anyone at home is curious, just Google like mules at the Denver, Colorado airport, because some of them should just not be in public spaces in general. It's like people with gas masks with swords like slashing children kind of thing. It's real weird.
Yeah,
What is
Yeah.
this?
we need to find these artists. Like, where are they?
Oh, and that's the other thing. The building is like attributed to this organization that like did not exist or something. So yeah, depending on who you ask, it's either aliens or like neo Nazis or the Illuminati or some combination of them. Like I said,
Some
best
combination
conspiracy
of all.
theories are like it's everything.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I love stuff like that. It's fun. It's like fun to think about. I don't take them serious, but it's just like it's a fun, like
It's like a thought experiment, right?
exactly. Yeah, just like the conspiracies about like the moon and all of that stuff. Like I love that stuff because it's just like, like I don't think it's
Yeah.
true, but it's very creative to come up with something like that.
I
Oh,
like to think
absolutely.
that there's like a little bit of truth sprinkled in there somewhere. Like these things
Somewhere.
don't come from nowhere. But then again, sometimes people are just crazy, so that
Yeah,
also happens.
people have a lot of time to come up with all of this stuff. So um, it I wouldn't put it past them, but it's creative nonetheless.
Yeah.
So if you
People
enjoyed
also think they're smarter than they are, so when they see something that doesn't make sense, those that come up with, oh, it can't possibly be that I don't understand. It's that it's aliens. It's like, nah, you're just not as smart as you think you are. Like you're
No, do you
just
want to know the most powerful entity on the planet? And I'm serious about this. The most powerful creatures on Earth are the middle managers. And here's why. It's because someone had an idea, like, you know, something needs to happen. Then you got workers, and there has to be someone in between to make all the little tiny decisions. But they are not getting feedback from leadership. So they're just like, yeah, okay, that mural's fine. Like,
That
I
is
don't
true.
know.
Nothing moves without them.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I was in consulting, I would have someone presenting stuff that like I worked on, and they would say something um, blatantly not true, and then look at me and be like, "That's right." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I guess."
Good old what was that? Deloitte.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Deloitte tried to shove me outside during an active tornado. I want to just put that out there.
I wouldn't put it past them.
No.
I think I mean I think that's that's usual behavior from them. Cool. So, another thing that is pretty new for DC Gaming Group is so we have a DC Gaming Group arcade, which is basically our virtual arcade that we host inside of Discord. And some of the platforms that we use on there are, of course, the Nintendo Switch, which we do Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, And then we also have all the other consoles. And then also we have this other platform called Parsec. And so Parsec is, again, it's a way for us to play local games remotely. So if you don't have a copy of, let's say, Killer Queen Black, if somebody has a copy of that on their PC, you can still play with that person via Parsec, by basically doing, magic and connecting to their computer and connecting your controller, whether it be a PlayStation controller, Xbox. You can even use a Switch Pro controller, Xbox 360 controller. It all really depends. And then we have a handy guide, for you all at DCGG .dgg slash how to use Parsec. So we'll link that up in the Discord. But um, we've been so this is going on our second week of featuring Killer Queen Black. So I want to hear from you all. I know Ren and Justin have been hosting and co-hosting these events. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that and what the experience has been so far, and how can people join.
Well, like I said, the yeah, this would be well, what was last week was the second week that we really pushed hard for Killer Queen Black. We got some, I don't know what to say, like para professionals in a way. Like they were people who are affiliated with the Liquid Bit uh Discord. Those are the people who like made that's the studio that made Killer Queen Black, and they came over and they were much better than anybody else there. But they did a really good job of teaching like newcomers how to play. There was one particular member who, uh, I guess he was a professional Overwatch player. I don't want to say what game. Was it Overwatch? Yeah,
Yeah,
Overwatch.
he did
Okay.
vote watch for.
Um, so he was really big into like he fell in love with the game instantly, and then it turned into okay, so how do I become the best in the world at this game? So like, there was all different kinds of intentions and play levels there, but it really all just evolved into messing with the gravity to make brand new versions of a game that I have played a great deal of and did not know it could get as wacky as it did. Uh, but yeah, no, it's great that we're featuring it. We're featuring it this weekend. Hopefully, we can find more people. I didn't realize I've not said this. I mean, I know this is only the second week of us doing the podcast, but I still do have codes for the Xbox. So if anyone is listening to this and wants to join or is already a member of DCGG, and you have an Xbox, you don't have Game Pass, and you would like to play Killer Queen Black with us, I have some codes for you, and I give you the code, and you get the game, and just you can hop right in and play it. All right.
Yeah, and then a quick note. So Killer Queen Black works on all of the current Xbox One and then Xbox Series consoles. So if you have a regular Xbox One, it'll work. If you have a One S, you have a One X, you have a Series S or a Series X, all of that just works together. So as long as you have a Xbox game or Xbox console from the last few years, it'll work.
Yeah, and then I know you guys talked about Killer Queen a little bit last week, but for people who may be just tuning in, Killer Queen is how did you describe it, Piper? It's a strategy action platformer.
Pretty much, yeah. Actually, you put it more
Yeah.
succinctly than I think I ever could. That's awesome. A
Yeah.
strategy action platformer. I like that. Yeah.
So what's really cool about Killer Queen Black is that it is crossplay between Switch, PC, and Xbox. And the other thing that's really cool about it is the gameplay is teams of 4v4, so you can play 8, which is pretty cool in of itself. That means you can get 7 of your friends and all play together. But if you happen to just be by your onesies one day, the way that the online system is set up is they will put you on a team in the lobby system. Or they will put you with bots. So even in the arcade nights, when we first jumped in, me and Pipe together like 2 weeks ago, we didn't have to wait for anyone else to show up. It's like, okay, let's go, let's get in those lobbies, and so that was a full game experience, and so that was really cool. Um, Killer Queen, and I will also say that Killer Queen Black is the the console PC version of a cabinet game that was originally came out of Boz, and that's the game that I originally started playing this on, with the original Killer Queen cabinets. So I can say that across the board, the Killer Queen gaming community tends to be super wholesome and accepting. So the relationship that we have with the Killer Queen competitive community is they want to get as many people excited about this game as possible, and so we have this relationship where we will take anybody, any skill level, and teach them how to play. And if you really connect with the game, we can direct you to the coaches at the Killer Queen Discord. So it's this really nice setup that we have with them.
Yeah, BC times before COVID.
Yeah.
It was a huge. They used to meet down at Penn Social in downtown, right?
Yeah, in DC, the cabinets are at Penn Social, and it's definitely the Killer Queen Black is definitely a little bit of a different game than the cabinet version, which makes a lot of sense for like a lot of like mechanical reasons. On the cabinets, it was very easy to get 5 people on a cabinet to play against another 5 people. But like my PC doesn't have like an extra, doesn't have 5 USB ports, right? I'm not gonna be able to put 5 people on a single PC. So that's why it's Killer Queen Black is 4v4 instead of the cabinets, which are 5v5, and just like other little things like that. I think they made a lot of really good decisions when bringing it to a non-cabinet environment. But the thing I miss most. I don't know how I'm ever going to play Killer Queen Black the same way, but on the cabinets, they had a cup holder for your beer, and that now I don't know where to put my beer if I play on PC. Problem for me.
You gotta get a USB like cup holder.
I do.
Just
Yeah, it will keep my
plug
beer
right into the
chilled.
side, and then you can just like plug it in there, and then it'll keep your beer cool, all of that stuff.
For a full Killer Queen experience, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's awesome. What are some so in addition to Killer Queen Black, what are some other activities that we're doing inside of arcade?
Uh,
The cars and the balls and
oh, Rocket
Oh,
League.
Rocket League, yes. I was like, hold up, Mario. I know it's like, hold up, Mario Kart, but then you said balls. It's like,
Mario
what are
Party, the
some balls?
balls.
Yeah. I was like, that must be a new mode, a
uh,
versus mode or something.
Yeah, Rocket League. Rocket League is like is even newer than Killer Queen Black as far as what far as us, you know, featuring it. We have not pushed hard on it like we have Killer Queen Black. I think it's coming soon. You know, we want to just we kind of want let's put it this way: like Smash Brothers has its community. They show up. We can probably advertise more and get more people in there, and we will. You know, that's the thing. Mario Kart's the same way. I also think Mario Kart at the beginning, and you know, the same people were showing up, and that's consistent, and that's great, and they're good, and they're only getting better. And I've gotten soft Killer Queen Black. When I go back to Mario Kart, they're gonna whoop up on me. I know it, but you know, I'll get my crown back eventually. But that's that's a good consistent number of people showing up there. I think Killer Queen Black is right on the cusp of that. You know, getting the regulars coming in, making sure there's like a full game experience every single weekend. That's what we want. And then I would probably say that next would be Rocket League. Um, that is, if we don't decide to pivot and go deeper into Parsec, which is not the worst idea. But you know, that's of course that might be more of an internal conversation. But yeah, I can't speak to Rocket League at all. I have yet to play it. I know it recently went free to play, which is one of the reasons why I'm even kind of interested now. Uh, but I mean, I don't want to sit here. Rocket League is so huge and so popular that I know that like. I don't want to make a mistake and someone be like, "Oh, you don't know anything." Yeah, and I'm right. You're right. I don't know anything about Rocket League. Um,
Yeah,
so
Rocket
if
League
anyone here knows
is
more, feel free.
yeah, Rocket League is I mean, it's a big esport. There's a lot of people that get pretty sweaty about it. So I think that's really honestly is what turned me off from the game for a while. Until like other people was like, "Hey, do you want to play Rocket League?" I was like, "Have you played before?" It's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, cool." Like we're all in the same level. We can all like just kind of fuck around and discover. But yeah, like just going on random matches online is like I'm just like sitting there just like I'll try to hit the ball and then just like completely like it is a steep learning curve, but it is fun. It's a really fun game. So it's free to play. It's literally on every platform. I even think it's on like iPad if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
I knew
Um,
Google this.
yeah, so it's so yeah, we'll definitely be featuring that a lot more. We also have some seasoned folks in Rocket League that are willing to not clown us for being bad. So and actually show us how to play the game. So um, if you're interested, it's definitely going to be a one of the offerings for arcade night. And then last thing about arcade is so yesterday I was just playing around with the concept, but basically I'm gonna use like every Wednesday from like 9 to 11. I use that as an opportunity to discover some new arcade games that we can play as a community, and we're utilizing Parsec for that. And it also gives us more practice to get to iron out all the kinks with Parsec. Um, but yeah, stay tuned for that. Next week we'll probably play around with a few more party games like Gang Beasts and Lethal League. Um,
Maybe some Overcooked.
oh yes, that's okay. So I that was one of the things that from the beginning that we talked about was having you called it the 5 star club,
Well, I originally called it the 3-Star Club,
three
and
star
then
club.
Tom informed me that once you 3-star everything, you can then 4-star everything. So my standards have done a little have gone up a bit. I have goals.
Y'all have fun with that.
Yeah, it's
um,
extremely stressful, but I loved Overcooked. But yeah, I'm definitely down for that. That's also on Overcooked 2 is on Game Pass for PC. And then I have it for I think Epic. I think I got a free copy from Epic if I'm not mistaken.
I think, like, definitely correct me if I'm wrong. I think Overcooked has not quite jumped on the cross-platform party yet. I think if you're because I want there's a girl in my cohort who wanted us to play together, and it turned out we were on different systems.
I think you're
And
right.
yeah, I looked this up once before because we had discussed it, and I'm trying to
But with
remember. I think it's coming. I think like there's really a patch or something that's coming. There's
Yeah,
something. There's something I saw that I thought was interesting.
yeah, but with Parsec though,
So I'm saying
uh,
all of this is a moot point, right?
yeah,
absolutely.
so we could potentially get actually not potentially, very easily, if you have a controller and you put the client on your computer in the link that we can post somewhere for you. We can get you into what are we just talking about? The cooking game. We can get you in the
Overcooked.
cooking game.
Hashtag not
Um,
sponsored by anything that we're saying today.
no, no. And I think the other thing here too is like, us as organizers, we kind of do this community for y'all, the community members. So if you want to see particular games, or if you know of like indie co-op games that would fit good in the arcade, definitely let us know, and we can, evaluate them and see if they would work. Because that's
There's a
absolutely what
survey
we
for that actually.
want. Sorry, what was that?
There's a survey for that actually. I wish I had the link. You know, if press if we can put the link in with the that's up there next to the Parsec how to use link, that'd be great. I
Absolutely.
can send it to you. Don't if you don't know where it is.
Yeah, send it to me, and I can pin it inside of the and I'll actually make a Discord command that'll link to it as well.
Oh, nice.
Request game. I think that'll be the command. Um, but yeah, so that's mainly I think all of us are big fans of arcade simply because in my mind it's like mini Magfest. And that's one of the things I loved about Magfest was just kind of going to the console room and walking around and just like sitting down next to people like, hey, you want to play? It's like, yeah, hey, let's play. Um, and they even had like I remember they had a Towerfall like cabinet like array, so there was like a four like cabinets that you can. It was all like linked together that you can play. That was really fun. So like, yeah, I mean, arcade is really just like it's bringing back the days of being in the same room. Like I think we all loved the N64. I think that was the it was very cool to just have a console that had four ports on it, and you can literally just play with four people, um, and play all types of wacky games. That was a birth of Mario Party and Mario Kart, GoldenEye, like those were the days, and that's what we're really trying to replicate with arcade is get used to playing with each other again, with like some wacky casual games. So stay tuned for more information. Like we're gonna be hitting the arcade pretty hard, especially with Parsec, because that opens the door to folks not even having to own the game. So it's literally a free, just like you want to try out this game and hang out. You're uh, really not losing anything with that. So next up, um, so Justin, you have been the host for variety of Discord activities. The first Discord activity is our Wednesday unpopular opinion discussions, and then today you sprang up with this really cool guessing game. We were trying to figure out. It was a 20 question game. We were trying to figure out a game
Hmm.
that you chose. Talk about these activities that you're hosting.
Let's see. Unpopular opinions is a chat room in our Discord that existed long before me, but I have been working on this little brainchild of a game show that I kind of settled on the name of Nerd Rage, but we'll see. Uh, for years now, and it is a geek debate club. It is ridiculous questions. I expect people to come with serious answers, and just a good like amount of like of discourse, but like not angry. I get the nerd rage, sure, but like honestly, we're arguing about like which Smash Brothers character would make the best stepdad. Like it's and before you ask the question, yes, Daisy and Peach are allowed to be stepdads. It's 2021, people. Um, like it's so like I want people to get a little bit angry, get upset, but also like laugh at themselves for being for getting so. So when I realized that I think I might have found the group, the home of the people that I want to like share this game show with, was DCGG, and then also realized that that's not going to happen anytime soon. I was like, okay, well, let me throw out some of like the prototype questions that I've been messing with into unpopular opinion. So every Wednesday, I wake up whenever I wake up and put out a message on there, and I give a little spiel about what I've been thinking about for the past week, and tie it into a question. Uh, let's see, this week's Wednesdays, this was just yesterday. Oh, it was because of the rumors around the Switch Pro. I kind of boil down the question to our mid-generational console upgrades a good thing for gamers? Um, and one of my favorite things is when, like, I, I can tell when people are like around. People might like react like with an emoji to the question or something. Like, I can tell people are around, and then someone eventually breaks the ice and they say a thing, and normally I respond right back to them because what I do whenever I post that is put my notifications on. So if anyone writes anything into unpopular opinions, I get a notification. I'll jump in, ask them a question, and then normally whatever I ask will prompt them to say something where someone else has to be like, you know what? I can't handle this anymore. I was silent for too long. You're wrong, and here's why. And I love that after that, just kind of stepping away and just watching the conversation happen. Um, my only like sad part is like sometimes I want to jump in, like sometimes when there's like when I think there's a right answer. Like one of the very first ones, Ren came in Rec Shop. She said the exact same thing I was thinking of. I asked, "What's the worst mechanic in video games?" And the reason why I asked that is because I too ran and fed up with the breaking weapons in
It's
Zelda
terrible.
Breath of the Wild. And I forget, like someone did something else, but then Ren came in and was like, degrading weapons, and I was like, she said it. She said what I was hoping that someone would say, but I didn't want to like put any like influence anybody. So I don't know. I just thoroughly enjoy that, and that's been going on for a while. That's every single Wednesday. Unpopular opinions. I would love for more interaction there, but Thursday, I was like, because I always enjoyed Wednesday so much, I was always like, what am I going to do Wednesday? And we had the video game music channel, and I always thought about, what if I just like wanted to like put it something that I enjoy that's video game adjacent in there and every single week because people like randomly will put things in there, but like, what if we all put something in there, kind of like required listening? We all listen to it. Maybe there'll be a conversation in there that might come up. That's just something. But for some reason this morning, I just wanted to play 20 questions. So I was just like, hey, we're going to do 20 questions in the Discord. And like, as I'm typing it, I'm like, okay, these are the rules. And I'm thinking, like, how does this work? I think the saving grace was making sure that you couldn't ask a question more than once in a row, because literally at that point in time, I would just be playing with a person, and then someone else would show up. I'm like, oh, can I play? Like that's over, you know. Um, but at the same time, once again, it happened. There were people around. It was up for too long for people not to see because it was in general. That's why the reason why I kind of hijacked general because I knew people were going to see it. And then eventually, I think on that kryptonite, just asked the first question, and I responded no. And it's almost just like, okay, cool, we're in, we're actually playing. People are going to play this game. I'm in. And I think it's 5 questions back to back to back. No conversation between anybody, even though you could tell people were looking at it. And then after the first 5 questions, and I recapped all the answers because every single one of them was no. It was back to back all no's. People just weren't getting it. And then all of a sudden, conversation. It was like, okay, we're not going to get this just by asking random questions. Let's put our minds together. Let's like start thinking. Let's start puzzling this out. And I loved it. It was so great just watching people just like we're going to get this, and like people coming in with different with different levels of knowledge, and then it also like shows that not everyone plays everything, and not everyone has had the same kind of background with games. So Luigi's Mansion 3 was a more recent game. But like you could tell people like, okay, well it's not an RPG and it's not a platformer. What about this? Like, oh, that's not a platformer. It's like, okay, like it kind of just like people were like, okay, I know games to an extent, but I do know that that's the stuff that I like. So like, let me kind of try to push, you would know if it was outside of your realm of expertise. Like you would see something, oh, I don't know what this is, I'm out. But I can also contribute by just asking questions to the group, be like, well, what about this? And then people can, work on it from there. So like, you guys got it in 12 questions. Well, I'll see you again next Thursday. I'll come back with a little more obscure of the game. I'm not going to try to do
Yeah.
anything insane. I'm not going to try to do anything like the games we were playing in arcade last night. because those were some insane random things. But it'll always be a game that people should know. But I might go back earlier than 2019 next week. When it's
Hmm.
not so fresh. But I don't know. I want to think. I guess people were thanking me towards the end. I want to thank everybody else because you gave me a thing that like I was going along my day. Because I said that like the questions only count if you ping me. Half the reason was because I was just been staring at the computer screen all day. So like
That
I
was
would
actually
get pinged.
brilliant.
They have a question. Well, go back and answer it. But what I was to do is read the question, all the conversation between then and the question. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and then I get nervous. I'm like, oh man, they're right there. Sometimes you have to go the other way and look. Okay, you guys are right. But no, so you guys got it in 12. So that means I gotta make the next time eight, no, 9 questions harder. So like you don't actually get it, but then someone realizes it like one more question. Like, oh, I knew it. So
What made you choose Luigi's Mansion?
actually something that you said. It was Mario Day yesterday. And I had the idea of doing it yesterday, even though I woke up this morning being like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm actually doing it. Um, and I didn't want to do a straight up Mario game just in case someone instantly thought, like, okay, it's Mario, it was Mario Day, like, it's going to be a Mario game. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, what if if someone asked me, like, is it a Mario game? I would be like, no. No. They do, it's kind of a red herring, you go elsewhere. You'll stop thinking Nintendo. You'll stop thinking Switch. You'll stop thinking within that realm. But I forget how they asked the question, who it was. But they asked it perfectly to where I couldn't say that it wasn't like in the Mario universe or something. They said like they
Mario
asked a
related.
question with Mario, and it was like, okay, yeah, you got me. And that's when I think it was you after that. You were like, welcome to the races, and Mario 64 gif of the walk running up the endless staircase, and you're like, okay, like you guys are actually going to get this. But yeah, that was great. That was so much fun.
That was fun. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm already like devising strategies to like narrow down. Like what's that Ren, what's that algorithm where you split, it's like you start with a set and you split it in half and you split those in half, split those in half. I forget, is that binary trees or B trees?
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a tree, but then like if it's balanced, it'd be a binary tree.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah.
You
Yeah.
coders.
Yeah. So we're coming up with algorithms uh to guess the next one. Cool. So last couple of sections is events this weekend. We're kicking off tomorrow with Gears of War 5 game night.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass for both PC and Xbox. So um, it's a very casual. We'll probably do some verses, just like casual. If we have enough people, we'll do a custom game. And then also we'll do some horde mode, and then we'll also do some verses. It's very casual. If you haven't played Gears in years, this is a good time to kind of get reacquainted. I can show you, like, the only thing that you really need to focus on in Gears is getting good with the shotgun,
Yeah.
and specifically getting good with it, shooting from the hip. So like not aiming down the sights because it's too slow when you're face to face with somebody. You gotta get used to aiming without a reticule. Um, so yeah, so Gears 5 is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 9:30 inside of Slayers Club. Saturday, are we doing Jackbox Saturday? I didn't see it listed. Um,
Um,
I'm not
that's a
sure
good
if we
question.
have a official event for Jackbox. I can check though.
yeah.
Actually, I don't
I
do
don't think
I?
so. I know Swab said he's taking a break on that for this week. So, um,
So what that would mean is that it's not going to be an official hosted event, but if someone else, if people show up in that channel and someone has Jackbox, this is y'all space, definitely use it. But there will not
Yeah.
be a host at this event. Um, So play nice, y'all, especially if new members happen to show up.
Yeah, don't haze anybody, please.
Yeah, make sure everyone gets set up the way they need to be set up. We almost never an issue. Um, when we have people show up for Jackbox and Among Us who like have never played before. Um, DCGG members are very accommodating and teaching people how to play.
Absolutely. And then also tomorrow, as we were talking about earlier, it's gonna also be arcade night starting at 9 p.m. Like we said, we'll have what we call cabinets, which are basically just voice channel rooms where we're gonna host those specific games, and you all can chat with one another. So we'll have the Killer Queen Black cabinet. We'll have Mario Kart. I think Smash, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And also maybe Rocket League as well. Stay tuned for that. We'll have more updates as we get closer to it. And then we end off the weekend with Among Us. I think, are we doing Among Us this week? I gotta also check on that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if we have an event for it. Um, since I'm now back officially like this past week. I don't think I know what workflow y'all set up for the for posting events. So getting me up to date on that Trello board, I think is probably good because I'm down to host. I just don't think it's posted yet.
Okay. Cool. A great way to start the week to figure out who's suspect in your uh in your neighborly DCGG community. It's a great way to kick off the week. So, Among Us on Sunday at 7 p.m. And then the last thing, any general updates from you two on just like anything that you want to highlight?
Trivia is next Thursday. First trivia with me back in a while. It's gonna be on the 25th.
Awesome.
Is that next Thursday?
That's
Uh
Yeah, no, it's 2 Thursdays.
yeah, it's 2 weeks from now.
oh yeah, 2 weeks. Yep.
So in 2 weeks, it's
Cool.
trivia.
Anything else, Justin?
I would say I have seen a lot of the well, not a lot, but members lately been playing the online free version of Codenames. If you don't know Codenames, it's a very easy little board slash card game. You just play out a grid of words. There's one person who knows the words that they try to explain to the other team by using one word, and the other team, and then their team gets to guess uh, how many words correspond to the word that that the leader said. It's hard to explain. It's really easy to play. Like I said, there's an actual physical version that's been around for years, probably over a decade at this point. But it's recently free and online as well. People have been playing that. I don't think it's been on official times. I usually see it like after Jackbox. Um, so yeah, if you're curious or you've been playing Jackbox and humping a little early because you think it's dying or it's dead, people are still hanging around and finding their own times. And like Ren said, this is your space. This is what This is what we made it for. And I love to see that. You love to see people just outside of the official sanctioned things. People just like, let's just get together and play a game. That's what this is all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I definitely want to piggyback off of that. Yeah, like if you want to play games with other people in the community, feel free to utilize these voice channels, and you can also stream games. I know Vigor has been doing that throughout the week. He's been playing random games in the voice channel. So yeah, just feel free to any games that you want to play with people, like um, you know, post it out there, and don't be a stranger. Like there's like I said, we have so many different types of gamers in this space, which is why we try to offer as many different um, what we call programs internally to address that. So um, yeah, feel free to suggest any games. Like, just don't be a stranger. We're all, you know, we're all adults here. Um, and we're all just trying to have a good time. And at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is just get people together and play video games. So, um, do so. So take advantage of that. I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. Um, thank you all. Thank you, Ren, for joining us. Thank you, Justin. Um, what's you all's Discord names?
Uh,
I am at the Real Pipe Gamer.
and I am Camelback of Liquor, affectionately known as Liquor.
And I am not Cirque. It's just my name spelled backwards. So first name is Creston. So we will see you all again next week, probably Thursday, same time. We'll figure that out. But
All right.
other than that, have a good evening, and we hope to see you all this weekend.